I think it's great that people are speaking up and they're speaking out. Look at Simone Biles and Naomi Osaka, who are using their voices and telling their stories and saying they don't have anything to be ashamed about.
There is nothing like the energy of people coming together to have hope, to feel understood. There is nothing on the day that NAMI Walks is held that's negative. Even if it rains, people are dancing, we're doing warm-ups.
I walk because I want other people to know that it's okay to not be okay and that they're not alone. Seeing so many people come together for the purpose of a NAMI walk, seeing how many people are touched by mental illnesses every year is such an impactful thing for me.
The Magic Music Group is a drill team made up of 10 to 15 young girls. When I learned that NAMI was coming to our community, I was like, we have to get involved. We have to be a part of the NAMI Walk this year.
Seeing all the families come out for NAMI Walks is one of my favorite things about the walk. Just seeing everyone gather together and celebrate each other's stories and raise awareness with one another.
Seeing the different generation of grandmoms and the daughters and the little kids, the great grandkids, it was just so beautiful.
As a team leader, it feels amazing to have my community with me walking for the NAMI Walk. My husband and my kids do the walk with me every year. We bring our dogs.
Seeing all the dogs at the walk make me feel happy because they are absolutely adorable. They bring smiles to everybody's faces. And I think it's really a sense of security for a lot of people.
Being a police officer diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder, to be able to walk with others that are struggling just as much in their walk of life and to be as one made me feel like it was part of something that was just so powerful.
NAMI Walks is an amazing event. We come together to support each other, to raise funds, because everything NAMI does is free, whether it's an education program or support group.
I used to think I was alone, and I'm able to look at these walks, look at all these people, and know that these people care, these people understand.
We get to come and celebrate each other's stories and shatter stigma together. NAMI Walks is my favorite day of the year.
Mental alcohol! everyone. Thank you for coming. We are going to get started in about 10 minutes. If you'd like to mosey and find your seat, we're just so excited y'all are here and are looking forward to a great evening.
evening, everyone. If you'd find your seats, we'll begin the program here as soon as everyone gets a little settled. Well, that was quick. So good evening, everyone. I am Katrina Gay. I am a mental health advocate. I'm a mother. I've struggled with my own mental health issues. I have many family members. I've been a NAMI advocate for more than 25 years, and I'm the former National Chief Executive and Development Director at NAMI National. So I'll be your MC for the program tonight. It's so great to be back in Tennessee and back home. I live in Hendersonville, so this is my home. I've always lived here. But it's nice to be in a room with fellow Tennesseans instead of those people in Washington, D.C. Welcome to the 8th Annual Vision of Hope Award Gala. Tonight we're joined here by many in this lovely room. Isn't it wonderful? It's so intimate and it's just so warm and intimate and inspiring. But we're also joined virtually. So we have a lot of other people that we can't see who are joining in on their screens, and it allows our supporters to join us wherever they may be. So on behalf of NAMI Tennessee and the thousands of people that they serve every year, we're honored to have you join us tonight for this wonderful event. The future of NAMI Tennessee is being shaped today by our rapidly changing social landscape. I don't think I need to tell anyone anything about the last several years. I'll lean in a little bit more because I can hear it's louder, about what it has meant for our collective psyche, for those of us who've had predispositions to mental illness, to family members and caregivers, to everyone, to our children, to our healthcare workers, to everyone. So it is really rapidly changing, and we all need NAMI and NAMI Tennessee more now than ever. Your support of our event today and these conversations that we're having are very encouraging. NAMI Tennessee has an important mission. They work every day, every single day, to help individuals and families affected by mental illness, the 1 in 5, and really all of us who are impacted, build better lives. They understand the importance of their work, not only for those of us who are directly impacted, but really for all of us and our entire community, because as we know, mental health affects everyone. To be successful in their effort to build a movement, we are all invited tonight and when we leave here tomorrow, next week, to be aware of ourselves and to gain insights about how we can both and all of us contribute, but also inspire and support one another in our own journeys. And that's why it's so special to me that you are here with us tonight, and those of you who are at home, you are here to help us honor 3 remarkable individuals who personified to me the soul of NAMI Tennessee. You are our champions, each and every one of you, and we also treasure the investments that you've made in this vital work of NAMI Tennessee. Without you and without your support, NAMI Tennessee would not be able to help the hundreds and thousands of Tennesseans each and every day as they navigate the challenges of living with mental illness. So thank you for your generosity. Now, thank you. So the reason we're here tonight, when I looked at the program, I thought it was really quite remarkable, and what I saw may not be what other people saw. So I'll just share a little bit about it. I saw 3 different aspects of this remarkable mental health movement being honored here tonight. We have a leader within the mental health system, very important. We have a dedicated service provider who has long championed recovery through his profession. And we have a passionate storyteller who has inspired thousands to make the world a better place. a nice circle and a lot of diversity of stories and perspectives. It's a reminder to all of us that it takes each and every one of us, no matter what we do. We all bring something to this struggle. We all bring something to this movement, and we each have something to give. So let's get to the program. It's with pleasure that I introduce the president of NAMI Tennessee to make some remarks, the president of NAMI Tennessee's board of directors, Alan Bartels.
Good evening, everyone. It's disorienting to actually see a crowd. It's been so long, so it's great to have all of you with us. Anytime I am in a position to make a speech, something like this, I'm always reminded of a conversation I had with someone once. I am from Nebraska originally, and we would bring in nationally known speakers to do conferences and all of that. And I would always ask them, how do they want to be introduced? Because I always got the job of introducing them. And for those of you that are familiar with clinicians and some of the theorists in the world of psychology and psychiatry, you will recognize the name Dr. William Glasser. He's the creator of reality theory and also control therapy. But anyhow, I was asking him how he wanted to be introduced, and he said, just make it short. Nobody's here to hear you talk. And he was absolutely right, and that is the case for me tonight. So mostly, I just want to say thank you to the NAMI staff who worked very hard to put this on for us to enjoy. I think if you have not been involved with putting something like this together, you show up and it just seems like everything flows and it just goes easily. And that's the outcome everybody wants, of course. But again, there's a lot of work behind the scenes that goes into doing one of these, and I just want to say thanks to the NAMI staff who worked very hard on doing this. And with that, I will take William Glasser's advice and turn it over to the next speaker.
Thank you. So next up we have our fearless Executive Director, Jeff Fladen, who will speak a little bit more about NAMI Tennessee and then introduce and present the award or the guest for the first Vision of Hope Award to Commissioner Marie Williams. Jeff is not only the Executive Director of NAMI Tennessee, but he does double duty and is also on the National Board of Directors for NAMI National, where he serves on the Finance and Audit Committee and the Quality Assurance Committee. So he's a busy man, and I'm happy to introduce my friend Jeff.
Good evening, everybody, and I cannot see you with these lights, but I know you're there. I heard you. I saw you before. It's my privilege really to address you just really briefly, and I'm going to say just about 1 minute only about NAMI, but I'm really proud of NAMI Tennessee and the whole NAMI movement for the way we have really adapted during the time of COVID to do things virtually, and now some back in person that we could meet here today with a small group, but we're meeting here. But we've also been really working to address what needs to be addressed today, which is a lot more with youth and young adults, which has a lot more to do with diversity, equity, and inclusion, with mental health and criminal justice, but also continuing the bedrock focus on caregivers, which is where NAMI began, where mothers and spouses, loved ones of somebody with mental illness came for education and support, which continues today, most all of it peer-taught. And I want to move more to tonight. First of all, we have some past Gala winners in attendance. So I'd like to introduce them and ask you to please stand up. I won't be able to see you, but the rest of you can. Dick and Jane Baxter are here. Judge Dan Eisenstein. Clark Flatt. Judy Given. And more are online. For a full list, please take a look at your program, and you can see about the past honorees. One that is not here tonight, I do want to mention Naomi Judd, who received our award in 2019. She was a great friend of NAMI Tennessee and NAMI everywhere, and I'd like to take a moment just to kind of think about her for a moment, please. I'd like to introduce current and former NAMI Tennessee board members that are here today. You met Alan Bartels, board president. Dr. Cynthia Rector's here. If you'd like to stand up, let them see you. The board serves out of love for the mission. We don't pay the board, as we don't pay most of the teachers, support group leaders. They're volunteers. Cannot do it without them. Nancy Killen. I didn't see Nancy, or did I see Nancy? Are you here, Nancy? She's supposed to be here. Mark Kalanick is here. Him I did see. And Clark Flatt and Dick Baxter have been board members, and I believe Jane Baxter probably was also a board member. Yes? We have other board members watching online. I want to thank all the NAMI volunteers for everything you do, all the NAMI supporters, the friends of honorees that are here tonight and family members of honorees, people that are interested in mental health that heard about our Gala event. I want to thank them. We cannot do this without sponsors. I do want to mention our sponsors as well. And HCA Healthcare and TriStar Health is a platinum sponsor, along with Mental Health Co-op and Vanderbilt Behavioral Health. And gold sponsor is Neurocrene Biosciences, which is here in person. We also have as sponsors the Center for Living and Learning and Frontier Health, MSHN Enterprises, Pinnacle Bank, and TMHCA. So we really thank all of them. We also thank the Glen Campbell Museum and Clearbrook Hospitality production team for this event and allowing it to happen. Thank all of you. And as Alan mentioned, the staff of NAMI Tennessee has had a great part to make this and all we do happen, and we thank all of them. So now it is my honor to present our honoree. And our tradition often is to ask the honorees, who would you like to present you? And this time, Commissioner Marie Williams, she said, well, Jeff, I'd like you to present me. And it's an honor. And so I've never had the opportunity to do this before, so I asked around a little bit. And before I share what I learned, I want to tell you that there's a few things about Marie Williams that NAMI shares. And it's so wonderful to have a partnership with the State Mental Health Authority that has priorities that are in sync with the organization that we're about. So I want to mention a few of those. First, I want to say Marie Williams is not my boss. Alan Bartels is. But she's kind of my boss. And the reason is because we do get generous state funding from the Tennessee Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services for the work that we do. And I appreciate that. But beyond that, she's also been helping for funding that was COVID funding to come into the mental health system in Tennessee. And part of that is coming to NAMI Tennessee, which is helping us with youth and young adult outreach and 911 dispatch mental health training. But that's not why we're honoring her. So here is what she's done that is consistent with NAMI. One, she's had a lifetime commitment to mental health. And many of the people that have come to NAMI, they've lived it because they've been a caregiver or a person with a mental health condition. She's had that lifelong commitment to mental health. We love that she's had tremendous success as a commissioner in raising the understanding that mental health is important for the people of Tennessee. It's part of a healthy, strong state and a strong community that mental health matters. Her relationship with the governor and the legislature and the results that her department has had through the contract organizations and their own services has resulted in a tremendous increased investment of new dollars into behavioral health care for Tennessee. So we like that. We like that she's accessible. And I'll tell you, I don't believe any of my children are watching online, but Marie Williams returns my calls. So we're not going to talk about my kids, but if I send them a text, I may get some little emojis or something back, but she returns my calls. She's accessible, and she's available to share. She comes to our events. We do advocacy training. We do a state convention. She'll come. She'll take questions from regular people, and I don't know how often that state leaders have the opportunity. She relishes the opportunity, and so we think that that's really important. So those are things about her. I kind of mixed up my notes here. Her priorities that we share: that treatment works. She believes in treatment. We believe it works. She believes, like I do, like NAMI does, that treating people in the community and away from institutional settings is the way to go to have a life. So yes, we do have people might need to go into long-term care, but we want to get them into the community. She's a champion of that. She's a champion for peers to be involved in treatment. She's a champion for families and family caregivers being involved with treatment and recovery. She's been a leader in raising the recognition of the importance of the coming 988 crisis response system. She's been a champion of increased local access to crisis services. She's been instrumental that we now have school liaisons and we have jail, criminal justice liaisons. This all happened under her leadership. The recovery focus, the focus on employment, housing, increasing housing for people with mental illness and bringing in more match money and federal money through her initiative, and her support for CIT, so people get treatment, not jail, when there's a mental health crisis. So here's what I learned about her. I talked to a few people, and this one I'm not going to share their name, but she shared some way back information, and she told me that Commissioner Williams was a talented basketball player. Now, I don't know why it says was, and I'm not sure how long, I'm not sure where you are even, but she's in here somewhere. I can't, there you are. No, that, anyhow, I don't know when she's, if she does stress relief by bouncing the basketball or not, but Pat Summitt was one of her heroes, and a highlight of her early years was in attending a Pat Summitt clinic. And Marie was an incredible defensive player, I'm told, and was a team leader even in her teen years. So when you think about what she's been able to accomplish in her career, there's some parallels to her days as a winning basketball player. She has continued to recognize the importance of setting a clear goal, recognizing the contribution of others. She's a leader who believes in celebrating accomplishments. I've seen her do that. Sometimes she sings, and she's had many accomplishments to celebrate. A win in her life today isn't winning a score on the scoreboard. It's knowing that individuals with mental health and substance abuse receive the services that they need in every corner of Tennessee. Now here's one from some information from for Deputy Commissioner Matt Yancey. And he says, and I've heard this, we often hear Commissioner Williams say, we are blessed to serve Tennesseans struggling with mental health and substance abuse issues. And while this perspective serves as a foundation for everything her department does, it's also true that my colleagues, this is Matt saying, that the department it's a vast, diversified provider network. They're blessed to have Commissioner Williams leading the way. And Matt says, in my role in the department, he has colleagues he considers friends. They have a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to work collaboratively with key stakeholders, many in the room tonight, to make our system better, and more pertinently, to have a boss in Commissioner Williams that I, Matt, consider a true mentor. And I've learned from her as well. She tells me, in fact, Jeff, if you have a problem, don't go, yelling at people about it. Come and talk to me. I want to hear about it, and I do that. And while I've accrued enough stories and anecdotes about Commissioner Williams over the last 7 years to take up the whole gala, I'll just highlight one thing. This is Matt again, that happened last night in Knoxville that he believes highlights her dedication to serve. There was a big meeting in Knoxville to look at what is going on with mental health. There were all kinds of people there, legislators, city, county people, advocates, providers, and They talked, there was tough questions, and the commissioner did a great job highlighting the work of the department. But what was really touching is that she noticed a person in the back of the auditorium that clearly needed some help, and she took the time. Here she is, the commissioner of an organization with 1,800 employees and a $500 million budget, and she's helping this person to get connected into treatment. So we think that was an amazing story. And what Matt continued to say is, in his personal pursuit to be the best leader he can be, there's no book or any training that's educated me more than working day to day with Commissioner Williams. She's the real deal. She's an advocate. Every day he's amazed how much Commissioner cares. He can think of no better person to receive this award. Congratulations to Commissioner Williams for recognition, well deserved. And he says he's also observed her become Marie Williams' case manager, in addition to Marie Williams' commissioner. Then I also had the privilege to talk to the prior commissioner. Many of you know Doug Varney, and it was hard to find him, but I found him. And he said he's extremely proud to hear of Commissioner Williams having this honor. He tells me when he told Governor Haslam that he was stepping down, he was asked by the governor who should be the next commissioner, and Commissioner Varney said it should be Marie Williams. And the governor says, I was going to ask her. So he had the right guy, or he had the right lady in mind. She had it in mind too. It was a match, and she took over. And he says he was lucky to have her. She knew the system. Her heart was in the right place. She's empathetic. She knows where people are coming from. And he says, I'd like to hear this said about me one day maybe, that she knows and does the right thing intuitively. That's really high praise. Marie Williams started in Memphis and worked with homeless population. She was determined to make a difference. She's done so. She also shared advice to Commissioner Varney. Go on the Hill and make friends. If you do not have the support of the governor, you cannot get these things done. So she advised him to do that, but I think she took that advice too. She's developed a national reputation for the good work accomplished in Tennessee. One example is the Creative Housing Initiative, which has leveraged large dollars. And that's enough of me talking about her. I'd like to bring Commissioner Williams up here to receive our award.
We can't see anybody. All right, you want to do
We'll
it
get you
a little bit?
afterwards. But,
Thank you, that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And
Hey, do you mind putting that over there?
Yep.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Jeff's right, you can't see anybody from up here. I will tell you that it's an honor and a blessing. I was laughing at what Matt Yancey said. Because I do say that a lot. I feel completely honored and blessed to work with an incredible team at the Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services. I can't say enough about them, their commitment to day in and day out work to make hope and recovery possible for every Tennessean across this state. When I was thinking about the definition of hope, Jeff, and I really do appreciate this award about hope, I want to read to you what the definition says of hope. It says, a feeling of expectation and desire for a certain thing to happen. Think about that for just a moment. A feeling of expectation and a desire for a certain thing to happen. Tell you during COVID, when we were having the hardest days with that, we earnestly had a feeling and a desire of expectation that we could get back with the people that we knew needed our help. The story that they talked about last night was actually a testament to one of our providers, Helen Ross McNabb, and I cannot say enough about what they did last night. That event ended right around 9:15, 9:30. That young man was homeless, and he had not eaten in 2 days. He had not bathed. He admitted that he had a mental health issue. And on the spot, Jerry Wagner and Mona Blanton Kitts got him into the crisis stabilization unit. Hope. Hope. I was reminded last night as I spoke to him of what Jeff said. I started out in Memphis, Tennessee, and in the audience is Ellen Wilbur. What a beacon of hope Ellen Wilbur has been over the last many years. She's provided from Memphis to Nashville to Mountain City the leadership for TAMHO and for each of those organizations who really are the recipients of this award. This award is about hope that each of you have actually demonstrated. Looking at Amanda, I can actually see you, Amanda, from the side. They don't have you blocked out here. But I was thinking about hope, and I was thinking about that young man last night, and I was thinking about the first person that I worked with in Memphis as a case manager, and I do consider myself a lifelong case manager. That never leaves you. Now, I was remembering that my daughter was born. She was only 3 months old. I'd started back, and my first client was a young woman whose children had been taken away from her because she had had a very strong bipolar episode and had done things that made her seem to be an unfit mother. And when I was thinking about hope, I was thinking about as we drove down the streets when I was helping her find a place to live. And here I am, the mother of a 3-month-old, and as we're driving down these streets where she's beaming with hope of where she and her child are going to live, my inside kept falling further and further and further down. Because what she could afford to live in would not be any place that anybody should live. But I say this story because at that time we did not have the almost $600 million that had been invested in this state to provide hope through our provider network, to provide housing and crisis stabilization units that we didn't have then, to provide walk-in centers that we didn't have then, to provide pre-arrest diversion that we didn't have then. We didn't have the same tools to provide hope that we have today. So I'll end with saying to you, may hope and trust fortify each of you. Thanks to every one of you, whether you're a family member with the Baxters, whether you're a provider, whether you're a peer, whether you're one of our hospital workers that work day in and day out, 24/7, every day of the year, whether you're my teammates. I've got the Chief of Staff and Chief of Hospital Operations here today, Ty Thornton. No matter what you do or who you are, NAMI, thank you so much because you provide hope day in and day out and very much appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you so much for reminding us. Love that word hope, but love the way you described it. It was incredible. We have a surprise. So I don't know if any of you, my husband is a musician. They make jokes about drummers, so I won't go into those. I think they're worse than horn players, but I don't know the jokes. But I'll tell you, I had never heard a joke about a picker, which we have lots of guitars around here. I don't know why, but maybe George Grun can help us. He was telling me, say my name like Kuhn. So that's easy to remember. So George Grun has a gift for us, and we're going to see what he's got and see if we can't get some action going here as a surprise and a little impromptu auction. Mr. Grun. He's got better knees than I do. I said, you need to walk around. He goes, I can make that. And I went, I can, so.
What I brought is a concert ukulele, pretty good one that is suitable for use on stage or in studio. It's pretty. Oops. Signed by Tommy Emmanuel, a very, very fine picker. Chet Atkins named 5 people as CGP, Certified Guitar Picker. And that was Tommy Emmanuel, Paul Yandell, Jerry Reed, Steve Warner, and John Knowles. That's it, 5 only. So Tommy's a good friend and comes in periodically. And he signed this about a week ago. And I thought it would be a perfect thing for an occasion such as this. I'm not a very good uke player, but it is playable. In fact, it's beyond playable. It's actually a very good quality uke. And so that's something I'll be presenting, and it will be up for bid. So there it is. It's got a case.
So thank you.
But it's not a toy. It's a real uke that you can actually play if you know how.
Can I touch it? It's light. It's beautiful. It's amazing. I don't know if any of you realize how significant this moment is and how special this instrument is and how generous of a gift this is. So thank you. So we're going to open up bidding. And we're going to start the bidding. I'm going to do my best. I do not do the thing, so whatever that auction thing is. But we're going to open up the bidding at $500. So we'll just raise hands, and then in the end, we'll figure out what goes on. So anyone interested in this for $500? We've got a bidder right here. Thank you. Next, 600. Anyone else? 550, 600. I'll do 600. Can I do privilege for that? Great. I'm taking advantage. Don't tell my husband. Anyone else at 650? Yep, he'll go 650. 700? 700, thank you. 750? $700 going once, going twice, sold. To the board member. I'll hold on to it. I'll bring it to you later. I used to play ukulele when I was a kid. I think I did like Tiptoe Through the Tulips or something like that. So I'm delighted. Our next award will be presented by Stefan Heckers, and he will present the next Vision of Hope Award, which will go to Dr. William Petrie. Dr. Heckers.
Good evening. Pardon my informal attire. As a German, I don't have an informal attitude, so I thought I can at least do the informal attire. It's really a pleasure for me as the chair of the Department of Psychiatry and Behavioral Sciences at Vanderbilt to say a couple of words about our beloved Dr. Bill Petrie. Bill is from a different generation. He comes from a time when the brightest of medical students would end up in psychiatry. That still happens, but it's a rare event. He entered medicine the year that a man stepped on the moon and took a giant leap for mankind, and when Bob Beamon jumped further than anybody else. He had finished Vanderbilt as an undergraduate and decided to stay at Vanderbilt for medical school. He finished, and then in the early 70s moved a little bit further north to Duke, where he attended the residency program. He went further north to the Washington, D.C. area for a couple of years, worked in a hospital and also worked as a researcher doing what we call psychopharmacology research, meaning trying to understand how the human mind responds to medication and how it can be helpful. Vanderbilt was very fortunate to get him back in 1977 when he joined the faculty. And he has been on faculty ever since. And in June, he will unfortunately make the wise decision to go into emeritus. A big loss for us in the department. I joined Vanderbilt just a couple of years ago in 2006. And I met Bill the first year I was at Vanderbilt. And it became clear immediately that not only was he a trusted colleague, but he was a very unique psychiatrist. He blends true bravery in the face of relentless mental illness with a gentleman attitude towards the person. He is the expert in the state of Tennessee for anything related to mental illness in our age group. We call that geriatrics. But he's also one of the pioneers in the treatment of severe mental illness called psychosis or schizophrenia. He pioneered the pharmacological treatment. He was one of the first physicians to use clozapine, which was banned from the market and needed to be reintroduced carefully. And Bill still is the busiest clinician in the entire department at Vanderbilt. He trained with excellent psychiatrists, Tom Ban being one of them, who just passed away a couple of months ago. But more importantly for me as a chair, he has trained generations of psychiatrists. Now, I want you to know that there are two types of trainees in psychiatry. Those who can keep up with Bill and those who can't. The former is a small group. So Bill, please accept the honor of being a awardee for this year by NAMI, an important grassroots organization that means a lot to both of us. And I want to congratulate you on behalf of the entire department and the entire university.
I feel a little like the Wizard of Oz. You know, I don't want the blanket, the curtain to fall down. But I have spent 50 years in psychiatric hospitals. And so I want to share just a couple of things. Some bad news first, and then some good news. The bad news is that I think the state of mental illness treatment in America is under serious disrepair. And at times, as all of you know, I think it's shameful. We lag behind in a lot of areas. And I think if you look even at our hospitals, they're clearly behind the rest of the medical center. If the hospital was a motel and you checked in and you wanted to check in, you'd walk in, and I'm talking about all the hospitals, you'd walk in and say, oh, I don't think so. We'll sleep in the car. I think there are major changes that have happened and that I have seen through my watch and the things that have happened. I think the other issue, and Stefan has directed a lot of research into trying to understand the anatomy of these severe and terrible illnesses. I mean, these are the worst illnesses in medicine. I sometimes see young people afflicted with these awful illnesses. I wish they had cancer or liver failure. Then at least they would get insurance coverage. They'd be given a nice bed in the hospital and whatever. But it's been one of the major failings of science in the last 100 years that we have not come up with a comprehensive theory of these severe illnesses that would apply to the treatment, improved treatment of others. I see the cell biologists and the cancer doctors at the hospital. I'm jealous of them. Or the cardiologists. They understand the heart. It's pretty easy, actually. You can explain a high school student how the heart works. Electric part, the muscle part, and the blood vessel part. Unfortunately, we're dealing with the most complex structure probably in the universe. So I think that's a major issue, and I think we've made a lot of bad decisions. You look at substance abuse. I mean, we've made every decision wrong in the last 30 years. Shame, blame, and when in doubt, put them in jail. And I think we're trying to come to a much more sensitive and aware problem. I mean, it was fine as long as substance abuse was in the slums, but when it came into the colleges, into the fancy neighborhoods, all of a sudden, we've had to change our tune. I think the same issue for lots of other mental illnesses, as you said, 25% of all people. Who checks their health insurance for mental health coverage? Nobody. Because we all think it's not going to happen to me, it's not going to happen to anybody in our family, but it's about 25%. So much for the bad news. What's the good news? We've got more people going into psychiatry now from physicians than have ever done that before. I mean, the department at Vanderbilt, since Stefan has come, we have had more and more people from outstanding medical schools trying to work. We have an outstanding nurse practitioner program in mental health at Vanderbilt. It's first in the country. So people are finally coming to try to deal with this. Unfortunately, we're still way behind. It's very hard to find providers. The other issue that I think is very important that I think we need to focus on is outcome. What difference did we make? Patient comes into the hospital with suicide, with whatever. Did we make a difference in a year? Are they still doing okay? Did they go back to work? And we look at substance abuse. How many are still using drugs after a year? Before, we haven't even bothered to measure this. You wouldn't, when you go to have heart surgery, you know the statistics of the hospital. You go to St. Thomas, Vanderbilt's. What's your death rate of surgery? In mental health, we've got to change it. We've got to be better. We have got to do more to understand these illnesses. We've got to pull them out of the shadows. These are legitimate and terrible illnesses for which families have to do much of the work. I think the other positive aspect is that we've got to involve families more, because families end up caring for these people. If we look at, and I work a lot with dementia and neurodegenerative diseases, and it's incredible. I will have to say, it's the highlight of my life to watch, because I get to see true love. See a husband and wife, they've been married 50 years, no hope of recovery, no hope of any return of function, but they hang in there, they care for each other, and every day I am inspired to see what families can do for each other and what we need to do for you. And as a final statement, I think NAMI has done wonderful work. I think we've got to be tougher. We have got to hold accountable providers, hospitals, insurance companies, and politicians. We've got to hold them accountable to provide fair, equitable mental health services to all. Thank you very much. I'm very honored.
Should have done that at the beginning. Thank you very much. Great job.
Okay, I have a little story about Dr. Petrie, and back, gosh, it was more than 25 years ago. So thank you for your comments. I've been in this movement, like many of us, as a family member or professionally for many, many years. And more than 25 years ago, I somehow twisted the arm of NAMI Tennessee's board at the time to bring me on as a part-time PR director and then associate director. And this was before the internet. So in libraries, I don't know if y'all remember, but some libraries didn't even have books on mental health. And I mean, it was like this secret thing, and it was so bizarre. So I got this job, and I kind of talked them into it, and I said, I got a lot to learn. First of all, I need to know, where is this place called Legislative Plaza that I said I could go work at? I had no idea what a committee was of the legislature. So I did a quick study on that, but I needed to do a quick study on medicine, and I needed to do a quick study on, it was just the turn of the atypical antipsychotics kind of in treatment, and I knew nothing, and I didn't know where to get information. And I called Dr. Meltzer and Dr. Petrie. And I was younger than I was now, obviously, and I just said, could you help me? And they both took time to let me come to their office, and they spent Vanderbilt money, don't tell anybody, making copies. And I left with stacks of like papers and research, and I went home and I read every single one of them. And it really, I mean, otherwise I just wouldn't have known what at all I was talking about or what I needed to know. And I became an advocate then because I had a child that was struggling. And I said, I do not want, and there was a wonderful leader in Tennessee named Ray Siner, who was a real mentor of mine. And he just said, don't do what I did. Don't take care of your son so much that he can't take care of himself. Raise him to be a man. So I told my son, I'm raising a man, not a boy, which was a terrific advice. But I became an advocate because I said, I don't want, by the time he gets older, for the system to be like it is now. And so for as much progress as we've made, I hate to say it, you're right, Dr. Petrie, we still have so far to go. And so I'm both inspired by the distance we've made and also inspired again and recommitted to the movement, and hope that all of us are here for how much we still have to go. So thank you. So next up, we're going to honor, I've known Dixie for many years, wonderful longtime ally Dixie Gamble, for the Courage to Share award. And this award is really cool looking, y'all, so make sure you catch it out. Before we begin, we're going to listen and watch a video that will just run for a couple of minutes, and then I'll bring up the presenter.
The challenges of mental illness came full force into our lives when Dixie's son Garen was diagnosed 25 years ago. Dixie is just naturally an advocate for any marginalized person, and her empathetic nature shines through constantly, not only in her work with NAMI over the years, but also in spontaneous actions with homeless or displaced people, like helping a wheelchair-bound man found roadside in Green Hills get home to Florida on a snowy Christmas Eve, or making sure the 40 residents at Garen's board and care receive holiday and birthday gifts, to being a spiritual advisor for death row inmates. I myself learn constantly from Dixie, and she's never shy about sharing her insights and opinions with anyone. So the Courage to Share is truly a fitting award for her. She's a fierce advocate for creative expression, justice, fairness, empathy, and certainly for individuals and families living with brain disorders. Dixie has a very bright light within, and when she shines that light on a cause, or a person, or a song, things happen, and the recipients of that light never forget how that feels. This is what she shines on Garen every day, if not in person, in her heart. I so wish I could be there in person with you all, but I am so very proud of the extraordinary person that I get to share my life with, my beautiful wife, Dixie Gamble.
And now please welcome Dixie's granddaughter, Lily Gamble.
Good evening, everyone. I'll first say I'm by no means a writer or public speaker. My place is firmly behind the camera. So when I was first told by my gran that she had received the Courage to Speak award, that was immediately followed up by, and I need somebody to introduce me. So there's probably no one else in the world I would do this for. Because my gran is not the average person. She has led the life of a being that is beyond remarkable and borders the otherworldly. I could speak about all of her career accomplishments, of being the first female president of a publishing division of Warner Brothers Records, being a documentary filmmaker and producer, of which some of her works include Safe Awareness, First Responders, Education, and Code, Correction Officer De-escalation Education, both being training films for the criminal justice professionals on mental health made for NAMI. She was a therapist for a number of years and was also a spiritual advisor and advocate for those on death row. But again, I'm no writer. She is, so you can read all about it in her amazing book, Witch Hairs. What I'm more qualified to speak about is being her granddaughter. Our incredible adventures from Italy to California, weekends spent out in the Marrowbone, picking wild blackberries, playing in the creek, doing yoga, helping out in the giant, organic before it was cool garden. And weekends on Music Row, meeting her amazing friends, the fame and provenance of them being lost in a little kid. I remember being dropped off one weekend and her telling me I have something to show you. We go upstairs to like a guest bedroom and she opens up the double-doored cabinet and it's overflowing with journals that she has written for years and years, and that one day they're mine to read. While beyond special to have such precious wisdom from a grandparent, it was admittedly intimidating and slightly daunting to read something like 52 volumes of over an inch thick journals. When she told me she was thinking of writing Witch Hairs, my mind went back to the journals thinking, oh man, this will be a lot easier to read. I have read and reread it and will continue to do so forever. I, like many readers, have laughed, cried, and cheered for her as I read it, but it feels like a special piece of wisdom made just for me, carved out of years of journals and adventures that can only come from a life well lived. A life lived to lift up her friends and family and lift up and speak up from those who may be unseen and unheard. I am thankful that the wisdom did not stay confided to me in journals, but has gone beyond its little cabinet to the whole world. It is my honor to introduce writer, filmmaker, producer, therapist, spiritual advisor, mental health advocate, wife, mother, sister, but most importantly, grandmother, my gran, Dixie Gamble.
Wow, how do you follow that, right? Oh, you're going to give me the award first?
Yes.
Oh, look at that.
Now you can speak.
My John will love this. It's a mic. Wow, that's amazing, Jeff. Thank you. Oh, I start this off in tears. Just imagine how it'll end. But my first thought tonight is I'm standing here on some giant shoulders. Naomi Judd, your indefatigable voice saved many, many lives over the years as you continued to suffer. I'm deeply, deeply honored to be standing in your light. My second thought, we must reject the notion that speaking out for mental illness or for the mentally ill in a public forum is courageous.
no more than sharing diabetic or thyroid disorders, which are not courageous, correct? There is no shame in a disordered brain. Let's band together to stifle stigma. And I don't have a third thought, and you're probably really glad. But I do have a couple of stories and some music for you. In 2007, while teaching meditation to the inmates at a Riverbend maximum security prison, the chaplain there asked me to visit with a despondent death row inmate who, in the throes of deep clinical depression, had taken the lives of his 4 children. Instead of taking his own life as intended, he turned himself in, pled guilty, and was sentenced to die. By refusing any appeals or an insanity plea, a mentally ill man was committing suicide by state. He asked for me as his spiritual advisor. I visited with him every week for probably a year or more, finding him quite brilliant, informed, interesting, amiable, but deeply disordered. I walked him to death's door, which was through the electric chair. Was I enough? Did anything I offered help his soul find redemption? Was I enough? A question ringing in my heart to this day. This tragic chapter proved the second most challenging, heart-wrenching to write in my memoir. As you've heard from Lily, I've been graced with a multifaceted career, to say the least, one of which was as a publishing executive at a time like no other on Music Row, when the likes of Willie Nelson, Roger Miller, Chris Christopherson, Bobby Braddock, Rodney Crowell were spreading their musical poetry around the globe direct from Music Row. And our little town was a warm, creative community then. May it rest in peace, I think. But out of that, and out of that era, came a tribe of gifted songwriting friends. While writing Witch Hairs, I asked some of these friends if they would read certain chapters and consider penning a song for that particular story. But a story about the legal homicide of a mentally ill man was a pretty huge ask. And then I saw B. Taylor on Facebook singing with her partner, Cody Brooks, and was instantly gobsmacked by her talent. I actually cold called her and said I had written this book, and could I send her this really tough chapter? And she never blinked, she never hesitated. She said, sure, send it on. A few days later, the song you're about to hear brought me to my knees in tears. Please welcome B. Taylor and her partner, Cody Brooks, my rock and roll beautiful friends.
It's not a dream, it's not delusion. Your choice of lightning over poison. May I be the needle to your compass. May I embrace you with forgiveness. Take peace in me. Do not fear the sight unseen. The mountain in your mind is misery. Still the soul inside of you. Find the space of solitude. Release the thoughts of what once would be. And be Minutes seem to pass like visions through a glass eye. I'm grasping to the breath my tears cannot hold. Am I enough to guide you? Do I have the right to help a soul that means more to me than my own? Take peace in me. Do not fear the sight unseen. The mountain in your mind is misery. Still the soul inside of you. Find the space of solitude. Release the thoughts of what once would be. And be to guide you? Do I have the right to? I am enough, I am enough.
Thank you. Dixie, it is an absolute honor to be up here and to be honoring you on this wonderful, wonderful day, as well as everyone else. And you know, I think any time when times get hard or when times get lonesome, it's always nice to have somebody to lean on. And this is not a song I wrote, but man, I wish I had.
Sometimes in our lives we all have pain, we all have sorrow, but if we are wise, we know that there's always tomorrow. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. problem that you'll understand. We all need somebody to lean on me. When you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Now you just call on me, brother, when you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. Now I just might have a problem that you'll understand. We all need somebody to lean on me. When you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on.
Okay, I guess I'll do this without the podium. I think I will. Yeah, lean on me. Is that not what NAMI's all about? We lean on each other. I've been leaning on NAMI and all of the friends in this room for, 35 years now? And we will continue to lean on each other. So my most heart-wrenching story in my memoir was about my son Garen. And this is a little, after all these years, it's still a little tough. So I'm going to just take a second to read you a few snippets from the memoir, if that's okay. We called him Garen, figuring it would look good in lights someday. Galen Gamble, simple, easy to remember, and pretty damn creative for a couple of 21-year-old small-town North Carolina kids. From the start, it was easy to see that he was destined for some kind of fame. He had the name, the edge, the sparkle, and the shine. By the time he was a year old, he'd pull pots and pans out of the cupboard, banging on them with spoons in perfect timing, the first of many drum sets. At 11, Garen cobbled together his first rock band in my garage. By 16, he was playing professionally with a major recording contract in the works. Then the teenage drug years crashed into our lives, blinding me to what was hiding beneath the self-medication. After 10 years of in and out of drug and alcohol treatment centers that did not work, in October of '97, just after Garen turned 27, he had a full psychotic break with a suicidal overture. All of that demanded a psych eval, and all of my denial was quickly smothered when the Vanderbilt psych intake asked Garen what month it was. December, he said. It was August. When the official diagnosis came, the jolt of the giant fist thrust deep into my gut felled me to my knees on the kitchen floor, barely able to breathe. For hours I laid there, curled in a fetal position, writhing in pain at the loss of my hopes, dreams, and goals for my beautiful, prodigious child. Bipolar disorder, compounded and complicated by schizoaffective disorder, which meant he was psychotic. He heard voices. They called him Breeze. In October of '08, after a medication change, Garen walked away from a halfway house here in East Nashville, where he had lived for 2 years, disappearing into a black hole for 9 agonizing months. I had no idea where he was or if he was still breathing. In proof positive affirmation that CIT training works, out of the blue, I got a call from a crisis officer in Santa Monica, California. There are so many missing and homeless lost there by the Blue Pacific. There are hundreds and hundreds of missing persons flyers on their office walls. And although the street had weathered his good looks and he wore dreadlocks, the officer recognized him and took the time to call me, only to tell me, yes, Garen was sitting there, but could not be held because he had done nothing illegal. Not even long enough for me to fly there the next day. Garen slipped back into his newfound world of street living and methamphetamine use, while I screamed myself hoarse at the overwrought HIPAA laws and a critical justice system that works to the detriment of the mentally ill and their families. Undaunted, though, at least I knew where to start my search, which his brother Shannon and I did again and again and again for nearly 2 years. But I'd find him. A mother can find her child, even in the darkest of corners. A mother can find her child. That was from Witch Hair number 20, and there will be copies of the book, I think, in your gift bag, if I'm correct. Today, Garen lives safely in a board and care in Southern California, about an hour from us. But what about tomorrow? Garen's first 2 board and care facilities, both in operation for over 30 years, were recently sold. In fact, 1/3 of the board and cares in California have been sold and the buildings razed. Further adding, and this is because of lack of government funding at the federal level. So because of that, this is further adding to the 33,000 mentally ill unhoused living in Los Angeles County alone. Think about that number. This is where we demand legislation for affordable assisted living housing for our loved ones. This is where we turn up the volume, friends. This is where we get unbearably loud for Garen, for Naomi, for all of those who suffered silently from this insidious genetic illness. And we will always forge a path for others so their journey is walked in hope. NAMI, Tennessee was a lifeline for John and me during those early years. We began our journey of hope, attending classes, meetings, family groups, anything that I could get my foot in, I went to, until I was strong enough to turn my fear and anger into activism. So thank you, Jeff Fladen, for bringing us full circle tonight. Thank you, Victoria Rutledge, for this incredibly lovely program. And thank you to my hero, Shannon Campbell, here tonight, who all these years had to stand behind while I wrangled Garen's relentless illness. Yet he emerged a successful man of such great character and integrity. Please meet my son, Shannon. Please stand up. He won't want to, but I'm going to make him. To my beautiful Lily and Ed, our hearts are always and forever entwined. And to my husband, John Jorgensen, ever there, never wavering, and always loving Garen with all his heart and soul. I genuflect to our love, and love, as we all know, is everything. Now, nothing could lift this loudmouth more than a little more music. So I've invited Nashville's golden-voiced songwriter, Renaissance woman, Beth Hooker, who has held her heart close to mine for many years as I trudge through this brambled path. And I've known vocalist, songwriter, musician, Harry Stinson, at least 1,000 years. You guys, namaste from me. Thank you, and please welcome my friends, Beth Hooker and Harry Stinson.
Here, let me fix this for you, sweetie. Fix it.
That's perfect. Thank you. After a very, one beautiful and very emotional evening with Dixie, we sat and she told me her story, her journey with Garen, and it just went straight into my heart and it stuck there and poured out into this song that I set and wrote with the brilliant John Jorgensen. It's about Garen, it's about awakening, it's about consciousness, love, and a place, hopefully, that we can all one day rise to and be together as one. Walking on the rim of a high grass road, the weight of the weary to unload, sensing every moment there's something more, the scent of jasmine from a distant shore. But the seeker found that stillness is a place, and in between two lines fell into that space. And when the heavens opened, the eyes could clearly see, and just 2 steps away is the edge of everything. Little boy walks through fields that cry, watching life's debris to tar the sands of time. Violent storms, they meld the sky and the sea. And though the earth is breaking, somehow he's free. Born on the wings of a golden blaze, he flies above the angry voices, above the melting eyes. As the waters rise, know that he's alright, living up on that ledge, at the edge of everything. Oh, we scatter like doves in a shaken tree. Running will not set us free. Forgetting who we're meant to be. Remember who we are. Oh, in the light we move together as one mind. Imagine us in step in a dance outside of time. And in that shining moment, our eyes can clearly see, knowing we've arrived at the edge of everything. Everything, everything. Namaste, Dixie. Thank you for this award. NAMI, it's beautiful and well-deserved. And speaking of wild angels, Naomi.
This song was written a few years ago with the intent of a couple trying to traverse life and getting divine intervention at certain points. And I think when you step back and put NAMI in that place, what I've been inspired watching everybody tonight and listening to everybody and all the stories. This world needs some angels. This world has got some wild angels in this room.
This song was written by Harry Stinson and Matrace Burr.
Between the perfect world and the bottom line, keeping love alive in these troubled times. Well, it's a miracle in itself. Yeah, we know too well what that's about. Still we made it through, only God knows how. Must have had a little help. Must have been wild angels, wild angels, watching over you and me, watching over wild angels, wild angels. Baby, what else could it be? Yeah, it must have been hard, it must have been tough, keeping up with crazy fools like us. 'Cause it's so easy to fall apart. Yeah, we still break each other's hearts sometimes. We spend some nights out on the jagged side. Somehow we wake up in each other's arms. Must have been wild angels, wild angels, watching over you and me, watching over wild watch you while you sleep. I swear I hear the sound of beating wings. Must have been wild angels, wild angels, watching over you and me, watching over wild angels, wild, wild angels. Baby, what else could it be? Wild, wild angels. What else could it be? Wild angels. Wild angels. Wild angels watching over you.
Congratulations, all the award winners.
Okay, the short. Wow. We're at the end of our program, everyone. What a wonderful evening we've had. We've had the most inspirational stories. Thank you, Dixie, William, Marie, for sharing your wonderful inspirations with us, and congratulations on such an honor deserved to all three of you. I'm so re-energized. I really appreciate it. I hope that that extends to everyone else in this room and everyone who's at home watching as well. I also want to thank especially what an amazing treat we've had with this musical talent to touch our souls and hearts and give us a deeper appreciation to John, Beth, B, and I can't read my own writing. Barry? Cody, that's right, Cody Barry. Thank you very much. Sorry about that, Cody. That's really rude of me, but there it is right there. So please be careful leaving. Take a gift bag. As Dixie mentioned, there are copies of her books by your gift bag. We all have presents. She generously donated that to everyone here tonight, so please accept that gift on behalf of Dixie, which is just another piece of evidence of her unrelenting love and appreciation for everyone and her sharing and ability. Thank you again. Have a wonderful evening. One last thing. Take your program. If you open it into the middle, there's one of those QR codes. You don't have to do it now. Do it at home. Don't lose that. That is a place for you to donate so that NAMI can continue to provide the support, services, and advocacy that they so desperately need to your support to continue to give. And at home, there'll be a pop-up for you too. So I encourage you to give and give generously. As I like to say, this is one sure way to get to heaven. Good evening.
I think it's great that people are speaking up and they're speaking out. Look at Simone Biles and Naomi Osaka, who are using their voices and telling their stories and saying they don't have anything to be ashamed about.
There is nothing like the energy of people coming together to have hope, to feel understood. There is nothing on the day that NAMI Walks is held that's negative. Even if it rains, people are dancing, we're doing warm-ups.
I walk because I want other people to know that it's okay to not be okay and that they're not alone. Seeing so many people come together for the purpose of a NAMI walk, seeing how many people are touched by mental illnesses every year is such an impactful thing for me.
The Magic Music Group is a drill team made up of 10 to 15 young girls. When I learned that NAMI was coming to our community, I was like, we have to get involved. We have to be a part of the NAMI Walk this year.
Seeing all the families come out for NAMI Walks is one of my favorite things about the walk. Just seeing everyone gather together and celebrate each other's stories and raise awareness with one another.
Seeing the different generation of grandmas and daughters and the little kids, the great grandkids, it was just so beautiful.
As a team leader, it feels amazing to have my community with me walking for the NAMI Walk. My husband, my kids do the walk with me every year. We bring our dogs.
Seeing all the dogs at the walk make me feel happy because they are absolutely adorable. They bring smiles to everybody's faces. And I think it's really a sense of security for a lot of people.
Being a police officer diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder, to be able to walk with others that are struggling just as much in their walk of life and to be as one made me feel like it was part of something that was just so powerful.
NAMI Walks is an amazing event. We come together to support each other, to raise funds, because everything NAMI does is free, whether it's an education program or support group.
I used to think I was alone, and I'm able to look at these walks, look at all these people, and know that these people care, these people understand.
We get to come and celebrate each other's stories and shatter stigma together. NAMI Walks is my favorite day of the year.